Welcome back, fellow wanderers, to This Explainer. Ever notice how when you play a massive, open-world video game, the game engine doesn't render the entire continent all at once? It literally only renders the exact frame your camera is pointing at, just to save processing power. Well, cognitive science is now suggesting that our brains might be functioning exactly like that massive video game engine, rendering only the precise frame we need to see to survive. It's a pretty heavy question, right? We naturally assume our eyes just show us the objective truth. We like to think we're looking out of a clear glass window at the universe. But when you really dig into the research, cognitive science suggests we are merely interacting with a highly filtered, localized render. We aren't actually seeing raw reality. We are navigating a simplified interface. What's really fascinating here is cognitive scientist Donald Hoffman's proposition. He proved that evolution didn't equip us to see objective truth. It essentially gave us a desktop interface. That means your daily stress, your identity, and the physical objects around you aren't raw reality at all. They are just desktop icons. They're designed to completely hide the complex, unrendered source code of the universe. Just like a folder icon on your computer screen isn't literally a physical folder inside the machine, the things you perceive are just high-level symbols shaped by natural selection to guide your adaptive behavior. And this all boils down to a mathematically proven concept called the fitness beats truth theorem. Hoffman and his team ran these evolutionary game theory simulations, where some organisms saw the actual quote-unquote real structure of their environment, while others only saw simplified fitness-relevant cues, basically just the icons that kept them alive. Across almost all the simulations, fitness drives truth to extinction. Organisms that waste their energy perceiving the literal truth are consistently outcompeted by those who only track what actually matters for survival. Truth tracking literally goes extinct. Fitness finding survives. Okay, moving into Section 1, Map and Territory, specifically looking at brain hemispheres. Let's see how this interface theory builds into the physical architecture of our minds. Psychiatrist Iain McGilchrist spent his career researching hemispheric mechanics, and it perfectly maps to this idea. You see, we live in this information-soaked empire that trains us to stack data like bricks. Our left brain acts like a bureaucrat. It takes living, breathing reality, freezes it into rigid, static maps to create knowledge, calls it his story, and focuses entirely on detached analysis. But the right brain, that acts as the master. It deals in implicit understanding, lived experience, and the broad, fluid context of the actual territory. So the left hemisphere gives us a detailed but highly constrained slice of the world, while the right keeps us connected to the whole shebang. This brilliantly highlights the danger of relying purely on that left brain. Having a textbook answer without lived experience is like having the number 42 stamped on your forehead with absolutely zero clue what the question actually was. Knowledge is just the static map. Understanding is walking the living dirt. When you confuse the map for the territory, when you demand everyone worship the blueprint instead of actually experiencing the world, you basically trap yourself as a passive NPC in someone else's render. Which brings us to Section 2, Spinoza's monism and continuous substance. So how do we break out of that trap? We have to look at a revolutionary concept formalized by the 17th century philosopher Baruch Spinoza. Spinoza argued for monism, calling it Deus sive Natura, God or nature. He proved there is no distant entity sitting on a cloud somewhere judging us from the outside. Instead, absolutely everything in existence is made of one infinite, continuous, law-governed substance. You aren't separate from the game engine. You're a continuous part of the code itself. That perfectly sets up Section 3, the 0/1 framework. 0 and 1. Let's open the engine room door here. This architecture beautifully marries Spinoza's continuous substance with modern technological metaphors. The universe runs on a binary loop. State 0 is the unrendered source code. It's pure potential, nonverbal intuition, the eternal order, the Tao, processed by your right brain. Then we have State 1. This is the physical manifestation, the localized render, the static map, the tangible matter and articulated text processed by your left brain. The 0 is the vast probability set, and the 1 is the actual rendered asset. And here is the absolutely crucial takeaway. You aren't just sitting passively in a theater watching this all happen. You act as the sovereign bridge. You are the active mechanism of understanding. Your conscious will takes the raw, infinite intuitions of the 0 and compresses it into fixed, communicable, physical action in the 1. You are the observer whose conscious focus determines what assets are loaded into your immediate reality. Now for Section 4, the sovereign bridge and practical application. Let's stop talking about the map and look at what happens when your boots actually hit the dirt. I'm going to give you 2 sovereign drills to reset your system. First, shift to broad beam attention. Drop the left brain's narrow, laser-focused panic. Just soften your gaze, take in your whole visual periphery at once, and quiet that internal monologue. Second, practice dynamic balance. Stop looking for static peace. That's just a rigid beam that snaps under pressure. Instead, be the spinning disk. True stability comes from continuous subtle motion on the sovereign mast of gravity. Because when you unite your conscious intention with your subconscious imagination, you execute the secret of emergent meaning, the 1 + 1 = 3 secret. You create an internal-external feedback loop that actively masters your reality. You literally birth the sovereign self, mastering your personal, private, and professional reality. You become an effective witness to the expansion of the universe, seeing not just the walls in front of you, but the underlying source code that rendered those walls into existence. So, the question is this. Are you going to accept the basic user interface handed to you by evolution, becoming an NPC worshipping a static blueprint? Or will you start actively auditing the source code yourself, stepping up as the observer to render your own reality? If you're ready to master that internal-external loop, step into the vault at journey.czwx.xyz. Check, document, execute. Stay limber, abide, and keep wandering.